think you know anything about Harry Styles.
Our communities.
Don't talk about it again, so I tell y'all, I told y'all so.
Our culture.
I am a Sam Smith. I will be Sam's representative.
Our stories.
It's also not a requirement for you to agree.
Our opinions.
This is the Culture Report.
All right, this week on the Culture Report, a viral video of discrimination. A police officer in Minneapolis accusing a black man of stealing his own bag. Very ghetto. And the pride backlash continues, but now we look at how anti-LGBTQ sentiments are possibly impacting consumer sales. So let's hop into it.
All right, a trans influencer is going viral, and for all the wrong reasons. Recently, the White House held a pride event to meet influential LGBTQ lawmakers and activists. Amongst those in attendance was influencer Rose Montoya. So the controversy began after she posted a video on social media of her standing in front of the White House topless. The video circulated online with some criticizing her decorum as distasteful, amongst a host of other anti-trans comments. The Biden administration has since come out condemning the behavior, saying that Montoya and others in her video will be banned from future White House events. Montoya responded with a video on Instagram, so let's take a listen.
Today I need to apologize. Earlier this month, I was invited by the White House to attend a Pride celebration with both President Biden and Dr. Biden. I, alongside other powerful voices in the queer and trans communities, were invited to be represented, seen, and heard in unique and a very special way. In a quick moment of fleeting and overwhelming trans joy, I decided to do something unbecoming of a guest of the president at the White House lawn celebration. More so than ever before, I have learned how powerful and just how impactful my actions are and how impactful it is when we share our stories and experiences and how we do so with the world. Finally, as I work to engage in meaningful conversations with my community and my allies, I would like to ask for everyone, especially media outlets and journalists, to please respect mine, my family's, my friends, and my loved ones' privacy during this time. I am unavailable for additional comments, and I will not be conducting interviews at this time.
Wow.
It's very much giving narcissism.
Yes.
This new generation is different. Like, they get a little clout, social media following, and they think they really somebody. And then they start using that word activist, or like, I think this is unfortunate because, like, there's a time and place for everything, and I do understand that certain movements require certain provocativeness in order to get attention, but you can't be going to the White House acting a fool like this.
Right. Absolutely. It makes me upset. I don't want to go on a witch hunt right now or anything like that because, like she said, I understand it was a fleeting moment of trans joy, and maybe I'm not defending. I was so annoyed. When I saw this, I was like, really? You got people out here calling us pedophiles, child abusers, saying we're grooming people, and you're going to go to one of the highest platforms in the nation and then get naked? I was like, are you...
But what caused her to do that? Like, what goes through your brain to be like, I'm just gonna do at the White House?
Trans joy. I was like confused. I'm like, what kind of joy? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Such a big responsibility to be out there representing the community, and then you go and do that.
First of all, they invited the wrong people, because where's like the Amara Jones, the Raquel Willis, and like the people that are really in our, like those people, Queen Jean, those people that are in New York doing great work, and you have somebody like this that got a little clout.
This has probably like 1 million followers. It's just the following. Like, we don't need to invite everyone that has 1 million followers to the White House, okay?
I appreciate what they were trying to do. They were probably trying to appeal to like the younger audience. If they're like, because I know she's popular on social media.
Right.
That's probably what they were trying to do. And I feel like when you go and like you're in that space, you're like, okay, how can I make a big statement? Like, we're rarely in these positions, we're rarely invited to these events. So how can I make a big statement to make this matter, to make an impact?
Yeah.
I just think it was the wrong statement to make.
You know what it reminds me of? Like, black people in the black community, like especially I speak for my black family. When we go somewhere, my mom and my dad and my aunts used to always, don't go in here acting, don't go in here acting, no, you know.
Yes.
Like, they give you that look, like, don't, because you have to represent yourself, and you, like, by not being your best self or putting your best self forward, especially being a black person or a person of color, you perpetuate those stereotypes. There's already so much anti-LGBTQ hate and rhetoric out there. So to go out there and do this gives them more ammunition to be like, oh, pedophiles.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And then we got to put out the fire. She's like, don't come to me with the interview. I'm like, okay, great. Now I have to put out the fire. Now we have to get up here on the Culture Report and say, hey, just in case you didn't know, all queer people aren't like that.
Right.
Now we have to fight your battle for you. So
and like I said, I understand that. Different event. That was the wrong event to do that at.
Different event.
Yeah. Something I didn't understand before we move on real quick. She apologized especially to the black trans community. Where did that come from? She's not black, so I wasn't sure where that one came from.
You want to take this?
Well, it's because black trans people are targeted like disproportionately compared to other people. So like her actions, like I said, are going to impact those people even more than it would impact her. Especially since she's like, I mean, more femme presenting, more passing, things like that. So she can get off and be like, okay, whatever. You know, like she said, she can stay home and not take comments. But there are black trans women that have to like walk the streets every day. Got to go to work.
That's probably the one comment she made that I actually agreed with, that she recognized and actually said. But everything else, goodbye.
All right. So we talked about all the backlash companies received after they released their Pride collections, and now we're finally seeing the impact that it may have had on these businesses. So new data based on the S&P 500 index shows a significant decline in sales for some of these companies. So back in April, transgender activist Dylan Mulvaney posted a sponsored post to her Instagram with the Bud Light bottle with her face on it. People were quick to boycott the brand. Since the end of April until now, Bud Light's sales plummeted 24%. The company also lost their spot as a top-selling U.S. beer in May. Modelo is now the top-selling beer. And Target and Kohl's also saw big decreases in sales during the month of May.
I love Modelo though, but I liked how Bud Light from what I've seen, they've continued to be an ally and continue to stand behind the LGBTQ community despite all the backlash, or at least what I saw.
Yeah.
Right, because I mean, allyship it's uncomfortable. It's unfortunate that this is happening. If only I will say it is amazing to see like people band together to make this happen, because I did not see that coming. They got me. Y'all got me. But like, if only we could band together for the right reasons, like. Are you kidding? For the right causes? Like
Target was quick to snatch back that merch, like taking all their swimsuits back.
I just feel like Target still is supporting the LGBTQ plus community. It's just they were like, their employees were getting harassed, and like people were going in there filming it, harassing the employees, throwing it and destroying all that merchandise. So for me, I just feel like I feel bad for those employees. I know that, but they're still selling some of the merch. They did take back that one item, but
to me, go ahead.
I was just going to say just how important it is for companies to actually stand strong right now, you know, because I know a lot of them, you know, could just come around during Pride Month and just say, hey, I'm making a stand, I'm an ally. But I think this is the real test, whether they're going to get through it and just keep, you know, supporting, kind of like Bud Light, standing their ground. I didn't like what they did with the executives that they ended up like laying off. But still, you know, just standing strong behind, I hope.
I just feel like Target could have just stood firm, because it also gives those people more ammunition, like, okay, they removed that because we did this, and they feel like that's connected to whatever their movement is or what they're trying to do. So I feel like it wasn't allyship to me. It wasn't that.
That's what like 14 attorney generals kind of sent a letter to the CEO of Target, basically saying like, we stand by you, like. What you did was wrong by taking that stuff away, but if you are getting harassed, we will stick by you. You know, all the punishment to those people that are harassing you. There will be some kind of punishment for them.
You know, when like a bank get robbed, they don't stop operating as a bank. Like, you know what I mean? They put more security in place. They have more measures. Like, so the same sentiment, I guess, would have to happen in these stores. Like, you know, there's some people out there that disagree with your stance and your inclusivity. So the idea is not to remove that merch, but maybe to put more precautions and safety measures for your employees.
To protect.
That's what I think.
I just know 2024 is going to be very telling. We'll see how people navigate Pride season now. We're going to see who the true allies are, knowing that, hey, I know I'm going to get backlash, but this is something the company believes in. These are our values, and we're going to stick with them. And we're not just here to make money, which they are. It's a business, of course. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see.
All righty.
All right, so over the last few months that we've been doing this show, we've discussed the homophobic and racist chants at soccer games. This week during the U.S.-Mexico soccer match in Las Vegas, it happened again. During the game, Mexican soccer fans were screaming a homophobic chant, repeatedly and loudly. Referees stopped the game 3 times to get the crowd in game under control, and they were unsuccessful. In the last 4 minutes of the game, one of the referees called the game. The U.S. ended up winning.
After an hours-long debate, the Denver Public School Board overturned a 2020 decision and is moving forward with bringing back Denver Police School resource officers with the superintendent's approval. Now, the board's decision directs the superintendent to create a plan with DPD. It also lets him remove SROs at his discretion. Now, the district must monitor any citations or arrests made by the SROs and share that data in a quarterly report.
And a big win for Native American families within the last week. In a 7-2 vote, the United States Supreme Court ruled to uphold the Indian Child Welfare Act, or ICWA. Established in 1978, this act is written to give every opportunity for a child to remain with their tribe and culture, should they be placed for adoption. ICWA was created after Congress found that from 1950 to 1970, over 1/3 of all Native children had been removed from their homes, sometimes by force, and placed with non-Native families or institutions. And Oglala Lakota woman and parent advocate for ICWA cases says the decision will help preserve their cultures.
Without our kids, we lose our language, right? We lose our songs, we lose our culture. Our culture and our people have been wiped out enough, and we need our children to continue on our traditional ways of life.
I love seeing this, guys. It's just, great to see that they upheld that, because when this was happening, when they implemented the law, they were taking a bunch of these kids out, and then in these boarding schools that they were going to, they were, teaching them not to, talk their language and not practice their religion. So as they go back into their communities, they couldn't relate.
Right.
They couldn't find that connection. So just seeing this happen, I think it's a big, like we said, a big win for them.
I was surprised that they did it or made that ruling. I was a little nervous. We've seen some of their rulings in the past.
Yes, I feel like it's extra important for Native American people though. It's different for Black people or white people, because our culture is kind of everywhere. Native American people, you have to be intentionally looking for it in order to find it. Plus, they're so limited. There's so few of them left. So of course you want to maintain the languages, the recipes, your history. You might not even know who your grandparents are after you get moved around so much. So I think that's amazing as far as preserving original, indigenous American history.
Yeah.
The results are in. The Minneapolis Police Department disproportionately targets Black and Native American people. That's according to the findings of the U.S. Department of Justice's 2-year investigation into MPD. So it found that there are systemic problems within the department that contributed to George Floyd's murder. The key findings show that MPD used excessive force, unlawfully discriminates against Black and Native American people, and violates the rights of people engaged in protected speech. It also found that people, as well as the city, discriminate against people with behavioral health disabilities when responding to calls for assistance. So looking into this, this report was wild. I know you looked at, the stuff that they did and they got away with is, it blows my mind. They were not playing by the book at all. It really made me wonder if they were even going through any training at all. I really think some badges need to be taken back, because they have little graphs in here, and they were saying there was a graph showing that about how many times they were using neck restraints, which is considered a fatal use of force. And from 2016 to 2021, they dropped from almost 50 per year to just 1 last year. And then when George Floyd, the year George Floyd, that was 2020, I believe. George Floyd, it was only it was a quarter of that maybe. But I was why are you using, and they say that they are using it unreasonably. So these people aren't being aggressive. These people have minor crimes. They're maybe they're resisting arrest, but not much, not to the point where it requires lethal force.
It's crazy, some of this. I'm are any of these police officers actually trained? What is it?
What is the training?
What is the training?
Right,
because it's that whole, police department. So what's going on? Because there's I think in that report there's something about a woman. There's a white woman. She called 911 to report that she heard someone in the alley and she believed it was a woman that was being raped. And once the police officer cleared the scene, she went up to the car and the police officer shot and killed her because he was spooked. What does that mean? How does that even
Why
happen?
are we reaching for guns when we're spooked? We have tasers, we have batons, we have hands. Like how are we immediately reaching for the gun?
For a gun, for someone that called 911 because she heard something.
Right.
That's terrifying. When I read that, I was like, that could have been anyone. I could have called 911 and that could have been me. You know, that's insane to me.
I think things like this it renders me speechless because I'm like, we're also applauding, like seeing that that decline in the chokeholds. Like we're applauding someone for doing what they were supposed to do originally. Like you shouldn't be performing those type of acts on people for simple petty crimes.
Exactly.
So it's unfortunate. I'm glad to see progress is being made and to see like the correlation or how I correlated with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor in 2020 being such a monumental year for Black Lives Matters and that just movement of police reform and seeing that decline. So it's just like, okay, we see good in it, but it's still like, this needs to be applied to every police department. They need to be going deep dive in every police department.
Yeah, but for so long we kept talking about, we need systemic, reform or police reform, and it just kept being one of those things that never really happened. And to see this investigation like fully go through and then have all those things, to be found in there, I don't know, that was really something that, like I said, like Jamal said, it was just something that I think surprised us all to see all the findings in there, but I really hope that they do apply it to other police departments. I think here in Colorado too, like we saw with Christian Glass, just holding more police officers accountable and, building a little more trust within the community with that.
Be a little more selective, because I'm like, what police officer, when you're supposed to protect and serve, you're supposed to take care of the community. I feel like lethal force should be something you dread doing. You're like, I want to protect these people. I want to make sure that these people are good. That's what I'm here for. Why is your first instinct to kill them? I feel like if people, like if they're saying police officers with multiple offenses of just using force like a bit too much, I think they should go in for like a psych eval or something. They need to be evaluated because that's not what they're there for. Especially when it's in situations where it's not necessary. It's like they're just doing it for fun at that point.
Yeah.
So that's concerning. So that needs to stop. They really need to like crack down on that. That's ridiculous. And I know this one's Minneapolis, but I would be really interested to see like if they did this on throw a rock, any city's police department. I don't think that the results would be that different.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. But if you didn't believe those DOJ findings, you might now, after you see the viral video of a police officer at the Minneapolis airport accused a black man of stealing his own backpack. The officer refused to believe the man until a white woman corroborated his story. So let's take a look.
That's what I'm saying. It's mine, bro. Just one right there. Oh, that don't make no sense, bro. It's mine. It's mine. I did not. I was right here.
It was over there.
I know.
Said it was family.
He was sitting by it much earlier. I saw him.
Okay. You want to see my plane? You want to see my ticket?
I saw him with that bag earlier.
Okay, cool. All right. Why don't y'all run the cameras? Y'all got cameras. Yeah, I just don't have time to because we have another incident going on.
Such a mess, Minneapolis. My God.
Yeah, so I would not be going there anytime soon. But this is important. While it's important for white allyship in terms of people of color and black people, because like had she not spoken up, I can only imagine what the situation. You know what I mean? We've seen it before. Yeah. We've seen instances like this before. But it also paints a different picture because it's like it took a white woman saying, no, he's fine. I saw it. It's his backpack. For him, like, oh, okay. Really? Like.
And someone in the video is like, you can go check the cameras. Like, you have cameras all here. And he's like, I'm busy. There's other things going on. I'm like, you're fighting with this man that clearly can show you his plane ticket with his name.
A plane ticket. Security cameras exist there in the airport, so there's plenty of cameras. Like, That shouldn't happen. If he said, this is my bag, I mean, I understand you have a job to do and people probably try to steal bags all the time. But why go back and forth? Why not just say, okay, let's take a look at the cameras real quick?
Right.
And if that was really the case, why are you believing that woman? That woman could have been with him trying to steal the bag. Yeah. Could have been
Exactly.
All of a sudden you want to take her word just because she's nice and white.
I actually want the same type of energy as if this ended in a violent offense or a violent interaction. Like, I feel like he should be investigated, put on leave, fired, because because she stepped in, she diverted this from being, in my opinion, a very violent situation or a potential violent situation. Yeah. So this is someone that clearly has a bias.
Right.
So I feel like he needs to be put in timeout. Y'all need to do some more investigating into his previous interactions because those type of people shouldn't be in law enforcement.
But the lady, one of the things she said, like, she posted another video, like, I recorded so long and didn't speak up so this man could have this as a claim. Because I guess she has lawyers in her family. So, like, she recorded long enough so, like, if he does file a claim against this police officer, he has, like, all this video evidence. So, like, I'm glad she did that. I don't think we ever think about that. I don't know if anyone would have stepped in. I'm glad she did and that she had her camera and that, you know.
Probably would have been arrested at that point. But it just reminds us, like, to be almost like on a low-level alert all the time. You know, when you're going shopping, when you're in an airport, like, are they, like, going to be racial profiling you?
Well, yes, in Minneapolis, I didn't mention it. I didn't have time to mention it, but they disproportionately, like I said, like, target black people. I believe it was for every 1,000 white people, 30 of them were stopped. And for every 1,000 black people, like 190 were stopped. So, and that's just an instance in Minneapolis of somebody getting stopped. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say it's because he was black, but
the lady that filmed it, she said that had to be, you know, like why else? If it was a white person, clearly. I mean, once she went and told the police officer, he was like, okay. Like, he had a big old smile on his face and everything. Like, his whole attitude changed.
It was hard watching that. I mean, it's disheartening. You know, imagine, like, how helpless you feel at that moment. Like, what do? You don't want to, like you said, become violent or anything, and you get arrested, and you're just
killed.
Like,
it takes the littlest thing for it to become
in most cases, you don't have, like, allies around you that can speak to what you were or weren't doing. So, like, in this case, he was lucky.
That lady could have easily pulled the Marge Simpson up.
Okay, let's hop into the good news of the week. Looks like the world is becoming a more inclusive and just in time for Pride. Estonia has become the first Central European country to legalize same-sex marriage. The country's parliament passed a law on June 19 saying 2 adults will be able to marry, regardless of gender. The amendment will go into effect January 1st, 2024.
And Disney and Pixar continue to break barriers. Pixar's Elemental marked a first in the animation studio's history by introducing its first non-binary character. Kai Ava, who voiced the character, posted to their Instagram saying, quote, big announcement, I got to play the Pixar's first non-binary character. Meet Lake, the movie's out now in theaters.
And Gloria Estefan has made history once again. The Cuban-American singer and 8-time Grammy Award winner became the first Latina to be inducted in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. She was recognized during a gala in New York City last week. Estefan took to her Instagram to thank her family and fans for the support over the years. Inductees qualify for the honor 20 years after the first commercial release of a song.
Right, and Marvel's Across the Spider-Verse, well, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, is still topping the box office for an animated film, sitting at just under $500 million. So a 14-year-old middle school student can say that he played part in making it happen. Preston Mutonga tweeted a video that he made recreating the Spider-Verse trailer in Legos. So the post gained some traction, and when the producers of the movie caught wind, they said they just had to have him animate a scene in the movie himself. And here we are 6 months later, and Preston can say that he helped animate a part of one of the most successful movies, like, in the world.
Oh, I love that.
That's 14.
It's funny because I was at Juneteenth this weekend and somebody on the street stopped me and said I look like one of the characters from the Spider-Verse. I was like, what? Spider-Verse? What is that? I have no clue what that was. So now, like,
you have to watch it. Sure. You have to. Miles Morales.
So good. Miles Morales. Yes.
I know. You
finally get a black Spider-Man. Well,
he's black.
Yes, Afro-Latina Spider-Man. Yes, please go out.
Yes.
Support. It's really
good. It's a good movie.
All right. Thank you so much for joining this episode of The Culture Report. We'll be back to continue the conversation next Thursday right here on 9 News Plus and 9news.com.